Groovy.
Welcome to Horror After Midnight. I am the Sawguy, joining with the Horror Boys, my horror family. So I have Slinky Jallo and I have KC. What's going on, guys?
Not too much, man. Can't wait to talk about Halloween too.
Ooh, hell yeah. I'm telling you right now, I'm pretty sure you guys have watched this film 6 times. I watched this film 6 times.
Oh, I've seen it 7 times.
7 times. Oh, shit. Oh my God. We were talking about that earlier off camera. It was funny because if you think about the original one, and Slink said this, he shot him once, and then he sees him by the ledge, and he shoots him another 6 times, and he fucking falls. But then when you see part two, and you see Michael's view, like going, like walking through the garages, you hear nothing but fucking, Dr. Lewis. I shot him 6 times. He said it so many times. That's funny, dude. Like at every scene, I shot him 6 times. The
He's
same
not even
tone and
human.
everything.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. He's not human.
it's
Oh
it's
my God.
is just that part right there with Loomis. I shot him 6 times. La, la, la. That afforded so many like not even ripoffs, but like just kind of like in person, like just the other movies doing this stuff. Like this is Michael Myers Ahab. He's his
Oh.
to throw Leslie Vernon a plug. Um, Halloween 2, man. This anyway, all right, yeah. Halloween 2 is like I always watch this after the first one because I'm a big nerd and uh, yeah, wow, just murdering this stuff. This podcast.
Well, no, I can see where you're coming from because literally part two was filmed like 3 or 4 years after the original one, but it takes place during the same night. And you can't watch Halloween without watching Halloween 2 because, we were talking about it before. It's Casey said it best, it's the bread to the butter,
You know,
Yeah,
it's
it's like
Yeah.
one long movie. I mean, pretty much.
and it's
Yeah.
cool because when they rarely do this stuff in horror movies, continuity kids, um, horror fans like us, we love this stuff. We lap it up. It's like
Oh.
watch Friday the 13th. What is it? 2, 3, and 4. That's over the same weekend, I think. If I'm remembering.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, oh crap. Oh yeah, all right, we're right there with you, man. Da, da, da. So to see them take her to the hospital and then he's, in pursuit, not far behind her, and it's just like, ah man, this movie, dude, Halloween 2 is fucking good stuff, man. I like Halloween 2. Almost
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's a great movie.
dun dun dun. All right.
absolutely. The thing I love about Halloween 2, not only is the continuity great, but it's the fact that if you look at every horror movie sequel going down, this has to be one of the best horror sequels to a great original film. This has to be because it's so seamless how it goes together. It follows a lot of the storylines from the first one. It closes a lot of the gaps, but also too, it's you get a different actor to play Michael Myers, but you have the same mask and you had the same getup, which is actually badass because how many times they've done sequels and they change the mask? I mean, we find that out later on in Michael Myers in the Halloween series, but it's the fact that they had the original mask and it shows the wear and tear. They show that he's like pissed off. They show that he's got a purpose now in part two because they explain the story more in depth, more like layers
Sister.
to the onion.
Sister.
His sister. And and the thing that I like about this one is this one had a big ass budget because Universal Studios, they were the ones that brought the rights for part two and for part three. And they said, fuck it, if this first one knocked it out at 70 million back in 1978, we're gonna do double that money. So I mean, they have some pretty good numbers. I mean, I know you got the numbers. Let's hear them.
Let's see. All right, here we go. Because I can already tell we're all geeked out about Halloween 2. Halloween 2 is a 1981 American slasher film directed by Rick Rosenthal in his first directing job, written and produced by John Carpenter, Deborah Hill, starring Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance, who were respectively Laurie Strode and Sam Loomis. It is a continuation of the original story The plot picks up directly where the original left off, following Michael Myers as he follows his victim, Laurie Strode, to the hospital, by, yeah, pursued by Dr. Loomis, his doctor. It was released October 30th, 1981. $2.5 million was the budget on this. So that's,
Ooh, that's some bigger coin.
yeah, from the original. And it made 7.4 in its opening weekend.
Holy shit! Just in that opening weekend.
Just the opening weekend, yeah. This isn't like a collected amount from its run, just the opening weekend. So people were waiting, man. People were waiting for this flick to come out.
Damn.
I just slasher flick. If I'd have seen the trailer on TV for this,
Ooh.
you know, when the movie came out, I would have lost my fucking shit. Oh,
Well, you know, the way they ended the original Halloween, you couldn't ask for a better cliffhanger. The fact that he gets shot, he falls down, you see him dead, and then he comes back and then he's gone. Loomis, like you said, gives him that weird ass look, like, fuck, I knew he was going to be gone. And then to see all the scenes and then to hear the breathing, like, you couldn't ask for a better ending for any horror film. Like, they got to follow this up. They got to follow this up.
gangbusters, man. You can't
Oh,
touch the original.
yeah. You know, and the thing that I loved, and I'm going to go back to what you were saying with continuity. I loved how they showed that when the kids got away, they called the cops came, and then, you know, Sheriff Brackett was there, and then they pretty much found out that all the other girls were dead. They show Annie, and he's like, one of them was your daughter, Annie.
Oh
And
man, feel bad.
yeah,
Bracket, dude. You feel bad.
oh, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's crazy because they went to the original area where they filmed it, so you know it's all legit. They showed that, and this is kind of dumb, like because most horror movies they wouldn't show this, but he's like, I gotta see her. They pulled her back, and then you can see like how she's like half naked with throat slit, and it's like, oh shit. And then the other sheriff was like, no, I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. We gotta go and find that son of a bitch. Um, but it had a lot of continuity tied in because when Michael was like I guess I don't know. It was so weird. Like he limped at first. He was bleeding because did get shot, but they
6
showed
times.
he got six times. I'm losing my fucking count. Um, they showed that he was getting around like these garages, and he went to this one little random house, and then he kills this chick for no reason, and that was kind of weird. Where he just popped out and just stabbed her right in the head. They showed he goes to this old lady's house and it's kind of funny because they're watching Night of the Living Dead. Of all things, this is a cool little wink. But
Yeah.
when he goes and gets the knife and you see the blood from the lady like cutting the sandwich, he's like, ah! But it was cool little wink because it showed that he is somewhat human, but he's still like evil.
Yeah, you can't kill evil even with
Yeah.
what 6 or 7 shots. You know, oh Jesse Ventura, if it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yeah.
Predator. I do like what you were saying. It shows he's human. There's a human inside that thing because Loomis talks about him like he's a fucking monster and not he just Michael Myers is not human.
Yeah.
Whatever. For 7 years, I kept trying to reach him. After that, last 8 years, kept trying to make it so where he doesn't get back. The Loomis character could probably carry a whole movie by himself, like just as like a case study on Loomis.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Picks up the knife from Elron. I think he kills that chick because the studio was trying to keep up with like the slasher boom at the time.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, body count. Yeah.
He needs to kill somebody, or we need to have some teens boning. So it's really out of place, man. Like it's not.
Yeah, it was a weird thing because they showed that she gets a phone call from her friend. She's another babysitter. That's what I thought was cool. And she was hearing on the radio that there was people murdered, and her friend's like, "Girl, they got killed down the road from there. Just make sure you lock up." She sees the she sees the one door open. She goes and locks it, like, "Oh, I'm safe." And then he fucking jumps out of the corner. But you know what I loved about this one? It carried a lot of the elements from the first one that made it scary. They had the weird fucking sounds and shit. And this had a lot more jump scares than the original because the fact that you weren't expecting it, and then all of a sudden he just comes out. And I thought was really cool was the fact they actually showed his eyes. And it was cool about how they said, like, oh, he has the blackest eyes. They showed him, like, and it kind of reminded me of Jaws. You know, when he bites down on a victim and his eyes roll back in the back of his eyes. That's when he stabbed that chick and you see his eyes just kind of roll back. Like, oh, you you couldn't ask for a better shot.
Yeah, that's true. And speaking of Jaws, did y'all recognize the guy that's checking Ben Ben Tramer's teeth, like after he gets burned up or whatever? That's the deputy from Jaws.
Oh no shit!
Jaws too, yeah. They go out and it's
Damn. I didn't even realize that, dude. Because that's another thing that I thought was cool. If we were talking about this off camera, was the fact that Laurie Strode had the hots for Ben Tramer. They talked about it in the first one when they're listening to "Don't Fear the Reaper" and smoking the ganja.
Her dad didn't tell when they rolled up. Like, okay.
Yeah, like he fucking knew. He's a sheriff. But what I thought was cool, they showed Ben Tramer, but then when they showed him, he was dressed up as Michael Myers, and this is the thing that still screws me up. Why the fuck was he wearing the same mask as Michael Myers, but with blonde hair? Like, did he like make the mask or something? And then Loomis went crazy. He goes, "There's that son of a bitch," and he was gonna shoot him. And the most the most over the top thing, maybe they were driving a fucking Ford Pinto. I couldn't tell. But they hit and the car blows up, and then he's like burning to a crisp. Is that him? Is that son of a bitch? Loomis! Loomis!
It's, oh man.
It was overkill.
Yeah.
It's a little overkill. I mean, he was very, very dead.
But, you know.
Guy shows up out of nowhere.
Right? Yeah.
Sheriff. He's like, sheriff, okay. The next county over, there's a psycho. He whacked his sister here in your town. If someone acted like that to me and they were like, he's in your town, sheriff, I'd be like, I'm gonna Baker Act you right now. You're acting fucking like it's one of those things that they do in film a lot where the guy is so, belligerent and abnormal and stuff. You kind of question why he's here, what he's doing, and then Michael slips under the radar. So it's kind of like, shut up, man. He's waving his fucking gun around. He's like, I shot him. Da, 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 da. Sheriff Brackett's like more fancy talk, but it's Donald Pleasance kills it, man. As Sam Loomis, like I can't think of anybody else to that character.
Oh, dude, he was amazing. He carried the whole franchise after this one. But it depends on what storyline you follow, though, because obviously now we're in the lore of like which genre, which one you're gonna follow. If I'm gonna follow anything during Halloween time, spooky season, how it is now, it's 1 and 2 together right off the bat because those ones they go together, for good. I loved how they showed this was almost like Quentin Tarantino-esque. So you see Loomis and his shit, what's going on. You find out that we were joking too about how he goes to the classroom and it says Sam Hain and he pronounced it wrong. And then you see the nurse come back from the first one, but then you see how Michael, he's like trying to find Laurie Strode walking to the hospital. And it shows like he bumps into this kid with the boombox, which was Dick Warlock's son, the guy who played Myers, which I thought was pretty cool. They show that he's like walking around the streets, and what better way to be a psycho murderer than on Halloween because no one's gonna recognize you, which
True, you
I
kind of
love.
just blend in.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I loved about that. Like, okay, he's the fucking boogeyman. You can't tell who's the boogeyman. And then he goes to the hospital in that scene and everything. It almost reminded me of like Quentin Tarantino-esque, but there were some scenes that was kind of weird, like the kid who went trick or treating and he ate the razors. Do you see that?
Oh, I know. I got a story about that. I'll tell you why.
Oh shit! Go ahead, and tell it.
Studio bullshit. So yeah.
They're like, don't eat those fucking Snickers. They have razors in them.
We told him not to. What happened?
You know what I think? It was probably a prequel to fucking Candyman. You know, it's hey, I mean, there's been some weird shit out there about that, but you know, that was the old saying when we were growing up. Like, don't eat the candy, have your parents check because there's razors. Kids today, I don't think would understand that because there was some weird sick fucks back in the day. It was weird, but I loved also too. They tied into the story of Laurie Strode, what she was going through. They gave her sedatives to knock her out. There's this one paramedic that went to pick her up, and he's got a weird boner for her and follows her like, oh, I like this girl.
Telling you, Jimmy.
Yeah, and we find out that's Michael's sister in this one.
Oh, yeah. You know, honestly, it's been a minute since I last like was thinking about it because they I don't know why that they did that in this series because when they did that, that kind of altered everything. But it also explained why he was like relentlessly going after her.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it was a
That-
great one, but I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think of the whole movie overall? Like the story wise, the way it's pieced together. Do you see it as a yin to the yang to the original one?
yeah. You want to go, KC? Because I'm gonna take like fucking 10 minutes.
Yeah. This one is a great movie. It follows the original, like as soon as that one ends, this one begins. Uh, all around, it's a really good movie. Dr. Loomis is great. There's a few little small things to nitpick, like how they say Sam Hain, and it's really Samhain, not that hard. And you would think they would have, eventually figured that out, but I don't think they ever do in the whole series. They pronounce it wrong every time. Uh, but I mean, overall, great movie. Very, like I said, little small stuff to nitpick, but not much. I mean, basically just that. And there's that, and then there's what the fucking hot tub therapy scene thing when he's
Ooh.
killing that chick in the hot ass water, and her face is like melting off, but nothing happens to his hand.
They don't
Like-
get do anything about that till Halloween 4, I think.
Yeah.
Show his hand, it's all like, oh, yeah, okay. Hot tub.
Hot tub time machine.
But yeah, overall, fucking great movie. Loomis is awesome. That one scene where he's got the damn what was it? The not wasn't a sheriff. It was like a marshal. He's like, what do you guys do? Fire a warning shot, and he fucking shoots out the fucking window, gives him like a U-turn.
Yeah.
That was a great scene.
You know, I love the kills in this one because they were more like, ooh, they were the type of
Finger
kills
in
that,
the butt. The finger in the
yeah,
butt.
the finger in the butt. Lori, where are you going? And I know everyone's gonna be like, what the fuck are they talking about? I never remember seen a finger in the butt.
Surprise, but no.
Yeah. So there's this scene that, you know, the nurse is chasing down Lori because Lori's trying to run and hide. And then you see Michael, he gets the scalpel and sticks it in the girl's back. But everyone's made a meme about it. And they said, oh, when you get a finger in the butt and it shows her face just like all shocked, like, ooh. And he fucking carries her and lifts her up. And then you see like her little nurse shoes just drop. Boom.
It's like, wow, he's what, second knuckle or the wrist? What's up? Like,
yeah, he put the whole hand in there. Shit.
he's dirty. Extra proud.
But you know, I love how she went into the doctor's office and saw the syringe in the doctor's eye. I love where he drowned the dude in the fucking like hot water. And you know, that was the only thing too, was his hand wasn't boiling. I love the fact where he was just like he was a monster at this point where he just fucking said, you know, I'm gonna walk through the window. He tried walking through it, boom, boom, and just went right through. And the fucking I think it was the deputy that shot him. And he's like, nah, the son of a bitch is dead. Then he gets up, kills him super quick, like, oh shit.
He's like, he's still breathing, man. Get away from him.
Yeah.
Got him. Yeah.
It had a lot of jump scares that you didn't expect. Like, oh shit, did he actually take him out? And then he gets up, but they show the human side of him with him bleeding, but then they show like the monster side of him. And the fact that John Carpenter, he twisted up the music. The music that he did for part 2 sounds more like Assault on Precinct 13, where it had like the deeper bass tones, boom, da, 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 boom, you know?
there was a lot more like exploration and shit done with the
Yeah.
stuff for Michael Myers. Yeah, absolutely.
And they put a lot of love into this. I mean, the amount of money, what, close to 3 million at that time, must have been like 10 million our time now. And the fact that they kind of still did it on a budget, but they did it pretty good. um the story that they did to where Loomis, like you said, the character of Loomis, he killed it. He carried on the whole franchise after this one, because you can't have Michael Myers without Dr. Loomis. You just can't.
Michael
um
Loomis is there selling you on how the guy Michael Myers is. So it's like you gotta
yeah,
be the devil's eyes, blackest eyes. Yeah, he's a fucking
yeah,
Yeah, pure evil, all that.
he's most definitely his Ahab. He's
yeah.
absolutely that is right on the money.
And we saw what it was like when they did the remakes, with 18 and then Halloween Kills and Ends, and what it was like without Loomis. That was a whole different ball game. Hopefully we'll talk about that, but the fact that Loomis's character was just so intense about it, and then the fact that I didn't like the scene towards the end where they're in the surgery room, and then I guess Loomis gets knocked out, she gets the gun, she has a perfect two shots and knocks out both of his eyes. What the fuck? Like,
That was not his brain though. That's
yeah, it got in his eyes, but not his fucking brain. And he's just, and I love the sound effects where he's swinging the scalpel, and it's like, whoo, whoo, like a fucking sword.
Yeah. Fucking
Right?
it's yeah, the end of this movie, it's kind of strange. It's kind of like it's time, Michael. That's what he said. And
Yeah.
he's not like a boss. It's not like he grabs a bedpan and like tries to beat him to death with it or some shit. He
Yeah.
does it and he turns the oxygen on in a hospital. Ooh, wow.
Boom.
Boom. Yeah. And the end's great. That shot of him walking up the hallway on
Yeah.
like, completely engulfed, man.
Oh, dude.
He-
yeah, that was a great ending.
That scene, I think, inspired a lot of action films and horror films, because you think about like Terminator when the fucking T-1000 comes out. And you see a bunch of other scenes, because a lot of people give horror movies shit at times, but if you look at the original Halloween and then Halloween 2, they inspired a lot, because Halloween 2 came out after Friday the 13th, the original one. Um, this sequel kind of put it out there that, hey, if this first one did just as good as the second one, but if not more money, there's a market here. So this really kicked off the golden age of horror, because they saw that, oh, they did Halloween 2. Fuck it, let's do Friday the 13th part 2. And you kind of started this whole like who's better than who and that kind of thing eventually later on down the series. But the
Yeah,
fact
who's
that
got the
part,
bigger knife?
yeah, who's got the bigger,
these
yeah, that or the kills. Um, the fact that this one was so completely different from the first one, I always call this one the most Hollywood one, because it's the fact of, they got that Oprah money pretty much, because they were able to add more effects. I did like the chase scene where he was running around the hospital and she got outside eventually, then came back in. I didn't like the character of the paramedic, and then the same thing too. They had deleted scenes that would make sense if they would have left them in, but they didn't. So they did the quartets with Mr. Sandman, and they showed her that she was getting put in an ambulance. But it depends on which version you watch. If you watch the VHS and DVD, she gets in the ambulance and then that's it. She's gonna go and get rest. But if you watch the TV version, you find out that the paramedic survived because he slipped and fell on some blood and shit. And then I guess they finally get to hook up and be together. Like, we survived. We survived.
fucking her kid's dad. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
weird. It's like,
Yeah.
fucked up. Is it Jimmy? Just kidding.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, with this one, with part two, I really did enjoy it. I know I've been talking my my 2 cents on this a lot on this episode, because out of all the Halloween series, honestly, I would say part two is one of those ones that gets forgotten a lot.
Yeah.
It's really great. People always talk about the original, but they never talk about, okay, what's the ending to the original?
It's he gets burnt up, man. Seriously, like yeah, the ending of the original, yeah, he gets shot, blah blah blah. But this is gangbusters here, man. This
Mhm.
he his doctor set them on fire. Like he blew them both up. That's how, like, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I had to go out with a bang, I guess.
this guy could not get out. Like he, you know, well, I mean, you know, he's cock blocking the paramedics at night at the hospital.
Oh my god.
What is it? This there's like two things I was gonna say and then gone. Um, it's cool that they show when horror movies end. It's like okay, they've taken away. Oh, there he is on the stretcher. No, this one we see he gets up, follows her ass to the hospital, and just